Over the last week or so, an idea has really captured my attention, and this is the idea of grace. I think it's something that we all have experienced or contemplated, and we probably have our own stories to share about how grace showed up in our life in some shape or form. And when I think about grace, it's been filling me with this sort of sense of just soothing feeling, this quality of like a blanket that just washes over you, um, not because you've done anything or it has nothing to do with worthiness. It just is a given. And that was the other idea that was settling into my awareness, that I've often lived my life in a way where I kind of feel I have to do in order to receive. And so keeping busy in doing. To-do lists, accomplish this, do that, check this off. And I imagine that's something many of you can resonate with. It seems like that's the only way to survive sometimes. How will anything get done? And the idea, if you want something done, give it to a busy person, because chances are they'll just add it to their list and it'll get done. However, over the last months, and especially in the last several weeks, I find myself questioning that and wondering, can't life be easier? Can't things just flow easier? And as I let myself ponder that, I came across this parable. Actually, it was something that David Hoffmeister shared in one of his talks on Spreaker. And he shares this parable from the Bible, where a parable that Jesus originally shared, that and I'll have to paraphrase, that there was a farmer and he had a huge field and needed help. So he had workers that would come and help him. Some would show up, at the crack of dawn. Some might show up a few hours later, some towards the end of the day. And at the end of their day's work, he would pay each person. And he paid each person the same amount. So it didn't matter whether they came, they'd been there for like 12 hours toiling, or they came at the last 12 minutes. Apparently it didn't matter. They got the same amount. And if you think about that, I know I definitely, if I heard that a couple of years ago, I would have been like, that makes no sense. That doesn't seem fair. Why should the ones that work harder make less? Why should the ones that don't work hard be paid the same? And all of that, my mind would be all over it. But this time, when it came to me, this parable, when it came into my awareness, it just felt like it was an answer to like a prayer that I'd been asking, because I'd been trying to work at my own job, where I'm working around the ideas of productivity and how much, hours and salary, and all these ideas had been kind of running around in my head, and I wasn't coming to any satisfactory conclusion. It either seemed like if I set my schedule a certain way, I'd be working too hard, or if I set it a different way, I might not be working hard enough, and all of this. So it was just not going anywhere. But when I got this story, it really settled me, because this idea of the farmer paying everyone equally, it was sort of like what grace is. Or, if we have a sense of heaven, or this place where everything is whole and perfect, there is no specialness. Everyone is equal, everyone receives equally, then it feels just so right that it is not dependent, once again, on anything we are in the world, anything we have in the world, anything we're doing even in the world. And it was such a relief, because that's sort of the only thing that could make sense in a way. Because if something depends on my doing, if I fail to do it, I'm guilty. If someone else fails to do it, they're guilty. If I overdo it, then there's a sense of sacrifice, and it's like a no-win situation. But if there's grace, which is there for the asking, which is there just to be received, which is something I can just open up to at any moment, any point, all it needs is my kind of that open mind, empty hands state, then isn't that wonderful? And just let yourself imagine if when you felt like you had to do something, or you were remiss and you forgot to do something, or someone was remiss, or whatever, the blame shame game or whatever it is might be going through your head. What if we just took a deep breath and said, okay, grace is here, grace is operating, it doesn't distinguish. It doesn't matter if something I was supposed to do 10 days ago, in this moment it hasn't been done, I can still open to grace and allow the miracle to happen. Allow whatever needs to happen. I need not be in charge. Spirit, you be in charge. And as the Course says, Spirit is in a state of grace forever. There is no time. There is no problem too small or too big. Whatever is needed is given. And those are all the ideas that come to me when I think of grace. So this is an invitation to let this idea of grace be part of your experience today as you move through your day, and invite it in, and know that you need not prove yourself in any way. You need not do anything different. You need not think anything different. Just allowing an openness to let this wave of love flow through. Enjoy.